Hi, Susan.
Hi.
So, Susan, tell us, how did you get started doing triathlons?
Well, I started when I was in my mid-30s, which I've learned now is pretty typical for people to start. I was athletic in high school, but I hated things like the mile run. I was never an endurance athlete, never a runner, a biker, a swimmer. But I always had this thing in the back of my mind where I wanted to do a triathlon. I don't really know what the motivation was, but it always seemed like more than I could ever accomplish. But yeah, in my mid-30s, all of a sudden I realized my kids were old enough and I was looking for something for myself, something interesting for me to do with my time, something to motivate me. I needed to get back in shape. And so I decided that I was going to train for the Reeds Lake Triathlon. And I had like 7 weeks, which is not a lot of time. At that time, I couldn't run a mile. I was okay at swimming. And the only bike I had in my garage was my husband's really trashy department store mountain bike. But I thought, well, I'm just going to start with the things that I have. So in 7 weeks, I learned how to run 5 miles. I learned how to bike 18 miles. And I learned how to swim a half mile in open water. I had a triathlete friend who I sat down and talked with, and she was very, very helpful. Triathletes love to talk about triathlon normally, so if you know one, that's a great resource. And yeah, I accomplished it. I was not particularly fast. I didn't look really stylish. My bike was not fantastic, but I finished the Reeds Lake Triathlon. I crossed the line, and I have been hooked on the sport ever since.
And what advice would you give to someone who wants to do a triathlon for the first time, maybe this summer?
Well, I think whenever you try something new, the first thing is to know that you can do it. I've worked with a lot of people since I started, and I've seen people as young as 18. I had one couple, they were 59 and 60 when they completed their first triathlon. People who've had to work through medical conditions, people who have lost 40 to 60 pounds. So there's all sorts of people who have this dream of, wow, I'd really love to do a triathlon. That sounds like a big accomplishment. So the first thing is that you actually can do this. And then the second thing is that it's good with anything new to start to get informed. One of the best places to go is a website called beginnertriathlete.com. And on there you can read articles about, how do you pick a race? How do you know what you're ready for? How do you pick a schedule? And it's a great place to go and just start to read in a real easy environment on how to get informed on triathlon. And then the last thing that I was thinking was, I brought my little puzzle with me because I'm kind of a visual person. So when you first start triathlon, it's kind of like opening, the 1,000-piece puzzle. I want to do a triathlon. This is the big picture. But then you look inside and you're like, oh, crud. There's so much to think about, and I don't really know where to start. So just like when you do a puzzle, you pick a place. So maybe you do all the edge pieces first. So maybe the first thing is, I don't have a place to swim. I need to find a place to swim. So you try to find little things that you can start on, and piece by piece you can start to put together this big picture of accomplishing a triathlon. And then also like doing a puzzle, if I were to sit up all night and try to do this all at once, I would probably not want to see a puzzle again for a really long time. So it's the same thing with triathlon. Don't feel the need to, in the first week, like suddenly go from 0 days of working out to 7, because chances are you're not going to like it much. Give yourself the opportunity to start slow and get informed. And if you know someone who does triathlon, again, we love to talk about the sport. I work at the North Store for Village Bike and would love to talk to anybody who's interested in triathlon. One of my favorite subjects. Definitely a life-changing experience, because once you do something like this, you realize, wow, I couldn't do that, and then I worked at it and I accomplished something, and then it opens your brain to other possibilities. What are other things that maybe I have wanted to do but didn't think I couldn't? Maybe those are things I can accomplish now too. So it really is a very life-changing experience.
Thanks, Susan.